It's not always easy to get a very exciting game, especially when your opponents play the dreaded 4 knights defense. This one, it can be very difficult to come up with something interesting, but I kind of made up something on the spot in today's video. But before we get to that, you are running out of time to take advantage of this huge deal on ChessUp. Yes, this is another ChessUp video. You're going to be seeing me playing on Lead Chess, but I'm playing on an electronic board. I'm not just making the moves on my computer the way that I normally would. I'm using the ChessUp board, and it's a really cool sale. Make sure you take advantage of it. These things don't last forever, and I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Bye. All right, going up against Baby Sonic 2022. This is an E4 player. Oh, shoot. Do I have the board set up wrong? No. Whew. I thought for a second I had the board set up wrong. I have the black pieces this time. It all makes sense. It all makes perfect sense. All right, let's hit him with some E5 stuff. This is a 1600 rated player. I like to just double check all of their ratings. Okay, this appears to be their highest rating. They appear to be 1500 at Blitz, 1300 at Bullet. So let's, you know what? Let's hit him with the Petrov, and we can decide which kind of gambit that we want to play. I'll probably play an Elephant Gambit. Could easily also play a Stafford Gambit, a couple good ones. Instead, we got the 4 knights. Okay, and this actually has been kind of tricky for me in terms of finding, you know, some sort of fun, dubious gambit that you can play against it. I can play Bishop C5. Maybe this is the most interesting. And I'm giving white another chance to take my e-pawn, but I guess there's no guarantee that that they will. If you played knight to c3 instead of taking my e-pawn, there's a very good chance that, you know, you're not going to follow up with something critical like taking my pawn, but you never know. White here will take a few seconds to think, and we'll see what they come up with. And if they do take, I guess I'm going to enter into some sort of, like, try to enter into some sort of Stafford Gambit. I'm imagining, okay, well, no longer do I need to imagine. I can just go here. And because of where my bishop is, I do not have the center fork trick. I can't take on e4 because when the knight takes back, it'll be attacking my bishop. So knight c6 is like the obvious, sensible move. My opponent hasn't really shown any interest in taking my pawn, though. I'm tempted to just play d5 and, like, whatever. Like, whatever, man. Okay, this is a horrible, horrible move. I'm going to be down at least one pawn for, like, no real compensation. But I figure, at least this way, we have some sort of gambit. And if pawn takes, I can consider e4, attacking the knight. e4, maybe there's d4, but I think, based on the way my opponent's been playing, that this is something that they do not want to see. They've been playing, like, kind of very safe, very solid, so I'm just going to try to break that up, which is not recommended. I wouldn't say this is the best way to play chess. You should just get your pieces out to get castled, but this might be the best way to get a more interesting position, because now I can castle. And if you dare take my pawn on the e-file, maybe you're not. Nah, you must be almost running into some sort of problems. Maybe you're not, though. No, knight takes, I just take with my knight. That's the thing. I was first looking at knight takes e4. I would bring my rook to the e-file. But then, you know, they can at least play d3 or something and protect the knight. Here, wow. All right, opponent is coming in. This I did not expect. And I'm imagining bishop g4 is a strong move for me. The queen is kind of out of very useful squares. So I'm going to hit him with one of these. Just continuing to develop more pieces, attacking the queen. And maybe she needs to go back to f1, which, ugh, that's not why you played this. And the opponent is starting to get into a little bit of trouble here. So the opening has, I think, gone my way all of a sudden. f3, not particularly scary because I'm going to take and I'm going to be bringing a rook over very quickly. Just weighing some of my options. Okay, I'm very happy to open the e-file. There's a queen and a king on the e-file. Let's just open this bad boy up. Let's bring our rook over. And let's call it a party. So I'm imagining you're taking back with a pawn. That's, you know, seems to be what you would do. And white argues rook e8. They have one of the knights hopping back to e4. Wait, but I have some dangerous options here. Okay, now's the time to be very careful. Because there are going to be some lines where I'm trying to get my queen in. Let's start with this. I think this is going to be pretty good news. One of the knights is going to end up going to e4. See which one the opponent chooses. They choose this one. And now, my queen can sometimes get into h4. I just need to move my knight out of the way. The bishop is fine. The bishop's not really hanging. Okay, I take this knight. And I also have ideas of playing f5. Pawn takes, I take his queen. So I'm imagining knight takes e4. And here I have f5. There's a queen check, but there's also just f5. And f5 might be stronger, because sometimes there might be counter tricks. Like if my queen was too far away, he might have knight to f6. My rook is not defended. So f5 immediately. He can try to unpin his queen. I don't think it'll be that easy. He can move his d pawn. I'm not worried about it. I play f5. And there's a lot going on. This is an incredibly complicated situation. He does give the check. Hopefully I light up red so that I understand that I'm in check. So I'm going to put my king on the h-file. He does take this pawn. That's kind of the greediest way. Considering how I want to do it. Now, the coolest, of course, is not taking this pawn back, but rather giving a check and then just kind of bringing the knight out, acting like white has done nothing. I just want to make sure that it's, you know, reasonably safe to approach the position that way. But you know what? Let's live life on the edge. Let's give this check. And my idea is to just ignore that there's this pawn here on c7 and to hop the knight in next. And then when the knight hops in, it's threatening to attack the queen. It's potentially making all sorts of dangerous threats. So knight to c6 is the first move that I want to consider. Other options include, but are not limited to, taking the knight, allowing a queen, then taking the pawn. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's bring the knight out. So we're sacrificing kind of everything here. But the attack is still going very strong. His knight is under attack. If he takes my bishop, I'll be able to take his knight, probably with a rook. And he could start getting into trouble. I could begin with knight to d4. Trying to get the queen away. A lot of good options. This is a long game, so it's honestly, like, if this was a real rated game, this is probably a position where I should pause for, like, all of my time and figure out exactly what's happening. But you know what? I'm going to take with my rook. I might be playing these moves in either order. I'm taking here with my rook first. And I think it's about controlling e2 as much as possible. Because if I had my knight also on d4, I would just win. Also, I might swing this rook over at some point, even though white can always create some sort of counter thing. This I don't think is very good at all. This one I think just loses on the spot. I think you had to go back to f1, because now I take here with a queen, and my opponent has actually resigned. Yeah, I'm on the verge. I can show you right here. I'm on the verge of just taking this pawn, and then white is going to be losing a lot of material. Let's go ahead and analyze this one. This was a really wild game, and I actually want to kind of take a deeper look at it. It's not so easy to come up with something super brilliant against the four knights, something that's like really dubious and extra fun to play. What I came up with here was d5, and if the opponent takes with a knight, maybe I'm in a lot of trouble. E takes, also most common move by far. All of this seems very reasonable. I played e4, which is the way most people do it, and queen e2, I guess, just didn't quite work out the way that the opponent wanted to. d4 seems like kind of the appropriate response, because if I take here, you're taking this bishop, and this generally is going to work out really well, even if I take here. This looks kind of like a structure that is sort of well known, and will actually end up working out pretty well in white's favor. So after we get to this position, after d4, I'd have to come up with something interesting. Maybe I just move my bishop away, or I don't know. Queen e2. This was not the way to do it. I got castled, and this compounded all of the issues, because this just allows knight to g4, and maybe this is the move that the opponent didn't see. Bishop g4, attacking the queen. I think the queen has to go back to f1, but instead we see f3, takes, rook to e8 is correct. The knight hop back, take, f5. Wow, okay, so this actually all was correct. There were some other tempting options. f5 was correct. Computer wants you to just sack the queen. Just take my bishop, sack the queen. Try to get rid of all of the danger, because this is already a very bad position for the opponent. My opponent gave a check. I moved out of the way, and they took this pawn. And definitely the best move is to take the pawn back. Okay, I think that's fair enough. But I gave this check instead. He moved away, knight to c6, and this is where things are kind of getting a little bit interesting. Takes is correct. Rook takes is the only move. This is correct. And here is where you need to move the queen back to f1. I think this is still going to be a very dangerous position. I wasn't sure exactly what to do. I'm trying to control this e2 square. Like in a dream world, all of my pieces are here. I don't know that I would have come up with bishop to f2, to be honest. I probably was looking at rook a to e8, so this is maybe the move I would have come up with. But, you know, this could have been a lot better for white, and it's definitely a little bit harder for me to find these moves. This move's great, like, once you see it. It is all about controlling these two squares here in front of the king. And in any case, white is in a lot of trouble. But what happened was queen d3. And now the game ended, because if I did go here, the only way out is to block with your queen, after which you're losing lots of material. I move my queen, like, wherever. I probably would go here or something, but wherever I go, that would be the game. And if you guys do want this ChessUp board, it's really cool. I'm having a lot of fun playing with it. Make sure you use the link in the description below. See you guys later. Bye.